At first glance, they appear to be a family fueled by big dreams, questionable deals, and one money-making plan after another. That's certainly how the television audience saw them. Yet, away from the jokes and punchlines, life unfolded very differently for the actors of Only Fools and Horses. While some battled serious health struggles, others faded from the spotlight, and a few never experienced the happy conclusion fans imagined. Now, let's explore how their lives had changed by 2026. David Jason as Derek Del Boy Trotter. Known as the ever-hopeful South London wheeler dealer, Del Boy's relentless ambition, charm, and determination to strike it rich transformed constant setbacks into television magic. Entering the world on February 2, 1940, David Jason was 41 years old when he first portrayed Del Boy in 1981, a performance that ultimately established him as a giant of British comedy. By 2026, David Jason has reached the age of 86 and enjoys a peaceful retirement in the United Kingdom alongside his wife, Jill Hinchcliffe, whom he wed in 2005. With acting mostly behind him, he now devotes much of his time to writing memoirs and appearing occasionally in documentaries as he embraces a slower pace of life. A remarkable twist arrived in 2023 when he learned that he had an adult daughter, actress Alison Belden, from a relationship he never expected would reconnect with his present. Although the revelation came as an emotional surprise, it eventually opened the door to acceptance and the rebuilding of meaningful family relationships. At the same time, advancing age encouraged him to step away from public life and focus more on reflection, family, and the legacy he leaves behind. In recent years, his personal story has become one of renewed family ties, late-life adaptation, and heartfelt reconciliation. Roger Lloyd Pack as Trigger. Among the memorable characters of Only Fools and Horses, Trigger stood out as the soft-spoken road sweeper whose peculiar logic and calm misunderstandings created countless laughs. Born on February 8, 1944, Roger Lloyd Pack was 37 years old when he stepped into the role in 1981, a performance that became one of the most beloved supporting acts in British sitcom history. Sadly, his life came to an end on January 15, 2014, when he passed away at 69 in London after a battle with pancreatic cancer. Surrounded by his wife, Jehane Markham, and loved ones at his Kentish Town home, he peacefully concluded a distinguished career spanning television and film. Even during his later years, he remained committed to acting whenever his health made it possible. A standout role from his later career arrived in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, 2005, where he played the stern ministry official Barty Crouch Sr., showcasing a dramatically different side of his talent. He also featured in The Vicar of Dibley, continuing to entertain audiences through treasured British productions despite declining health. Decades later, Trigger remains the character most closely associated with him, while Roger Lloyd Pack's legacy endures through his understated brilliance and comic timing. Nicholas Lyndhurst as Rodney Trotter. Throughout Only Fools and Horses, Rodney Trotter served as the optimistic younger brother, forever seeking a brighter future while being swept into Del Boy's latest plans. Arriving on April 20, 1961, Nicholas Lyndhurst was only 21 years old when he first portrayed Rodney in 1981, launching a career that would span decades of television success. As of 2026, Nicholas Lyndhurst is 65 years old and resides in the UK with his wife, Lucy Smith, whom he married in 1999. Following years marked by profound personal grief, he eventually returned to the screen through his role as Alan Cornwall in the Frasier revival. That return represented not only a career milestone, but also a deeply personal step forward. The greatest tragedy of his life occurred in 2020 when his only son, Archie Lyndhurst, passed away unexpectedly at the age of 19 from acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Overwhelmed by the loss, he withdrew from acting and spent time away from public attention while he and his wife processed their grief. Little by little, performing again helped restore a sense of balance and purpose to his life. For many observers, his appearance in Frasier symbolized both professional renewal and emotional recovery after years of heartbreak. Today, his life story reflects resilience, perseverance, and a gradual path towards healing. Buster Merryfield as Uncle Albert Trotter. Few characters brought as much warmth to Only Fools and Horses as Uncle Albert Trotter, the retired sailor whose endless wartime stories added heart and nostalgia to the family dynamic. Born on November 27, 1920, Buster Merryfield was 65 years old when he first took on the role in 1985, transforming a late start in acting into an extraordinary television achievement.
Unfortunately, he passed away on June 23, 1999 at the age of 78 in Poole, Dorset, after complications related to a brain tumor. Following a period of hospitalization, he died peacefully, surrounded by his wife, Iris Merryfield, and his family, bringing to a close a life defined by stability and a marriage that had lasted since 1942. What makes his journey particularly remarkable is that professional acting did not begin for him until his 60s, after many years spent working as a bank manager. Despite achieving nationwide fame as Uncle Albert, he chose to maintain a modest home life with his wife, keeping away from media attention and remaining humble beyond the entertainment world. His death in 1999 marked more than the end of an acting journey, leaving behind a remarkable example of a performer who found enduring television success late in life. Tessa Peake Jones as Raquel Turner. From the moment Raquel Turner arrives in Only Fools and Horses, she becomes the steady, emotional anchor who gradually transforms Del Boy's turbulent existence into one built on love, stability, and genuine family bonds. Entering the world on May 9, 1957, Tessa Peake Jones was 38 when she joined the series in 1988, ultimately creating one of the most memorable and lasting roles of her professional career. By 2026, she has reached the age of 69 and enjoys a peaceful, self-directed lifestyle in the United Kingdom. For almost 30 years, she shared her life with actor Douglas Hodge, raising 2 children together before their friendly separation in 2012. Nowadays, she balances theater productions with occasional television roles, adapting to an industry where opportunities for older actresses have become increasingly limited. Over the years, she grew more willing to discuss the realities of aging in television, where substantial roles for women often become harder to find, while ongoing joint pain made demanding filming schedules more difficult to manage. Instead of retiring entirely from performance, she redirected her focus toward theater and selective screen appearances, prioritizing flexibility while remaining active as an actress. Through that transition, she quietly reinvented her creative path, ensuring she could continue performing without being constrained by the industry's changing expectations. John Challis as Boycie. Throughout Only Fools and Horses, Boycie is portrayed as the boastful and self-important businessman whose flashy style, polished appearance, and endless bad luck helped make him one of Britain's most beloved sitcom personalities. Arriving in the world on August 16, 1942, John Challis was 31 when he first appeared in 1981, with the role eventually becoming the defining image of his career, and later inspiring a spin-off centered on the character. Tragically, his life came to an end on September 19, 2021, when he passed away at age 79 in Wigmore, Herefordshire, after a battle with metastatic stomach cancer. Surrounded by comfort at home, he died peacefully in his sleep with his wife, Carol Davies, beside him, bringing to a close a final period shaped by illness and declining health. During his later years, worsening health forced him to withdraw from touring and public stage performances, ending an activity he had always enjoyed because of his connection with audiences. Even while undergoing treatment, he remained active online, sharing memories from his career and staying closely connected to supporters who had followed his work for decades. Near the end of his life, he continued facing his illness with grace and humor, holding on to the warmth and charm that audiences had always admired. Although Boycie became his signature role, his legacy rests on the way he transformed a pompous character into someone viewers genuinely loved for generations. Patrick Murray as Mickey Pierce. Among the many hustlers surrounding Del Boy's circle in Only Fools and Horses, Mickey Pierce earned attention as the fast-talking storyteller whose claims often exceeded his actual achievements. Born on December 17, 1956, Patrick Murray was 26 years old when he first portrayed Mickey in 1983, a performance that would become his best-known contribution to British comedy. As of 2026, he is 70 years old and resides in the UK with his wife, Annie Waite, whom he married in 2016, along with their daughter. Following his departure from acting because of serious health problems, he now lives a quieter existence, supported by loved ones and limited financial assistance, as regular employment is no longer possible. A major turning point arrived in 2021 when he was diagnosed with lung cancer, which later spread to his pelvis and led to repeated rounds of chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgery. By 2023, his health situation had become extremely serious, with uncertainty surrounding his survival, while financial difficulties increased due to his inability to continue working. Though his condition has become somewhat more stable by 2026, he remains physically fragile, with daily life focused more on recovery and endurance than on career achievements or public recognition.
Kenneth MacDonald as Mike Fisher. Within the world of Only Fools and Horses, Mike Fisher represents a more professional and measured figure operating alongside Del Boy in the show's informal economy. Entering life on May 8, 1950, Kenneth MacDonald was 32 years old when he took on the role of Mike in 1983, eventually making it one of his most recognizable recurring appearances on British television. Sadly, his life was cut short on August 6, 2001, when he suffered a sudden heart attack while vacationing in Hawaii with his family, passing away at the age of 50. His passing came without warning, leaving his wife, Sheila, and their 2 children behind, and bringing a promising career to an untimely conclusion. Throughout his final years, he remained active in British television, appearing in programs such as Porridge and Crossroads, while preserving his reputation as a dependable character performer in both comedic and dramatic roles. Only a short time before he died, while rehearsing for a television guest appearance, he reportedly suffered sudden chest discomfort on a London set, an incident that was initially dismissed as simple fatigue and not considered alarming. Looking back, crew members later viewed the episode as one of the few subtle indications that his health was declining, despite his determination to continue working without pause. Paul Barber as Denzil Tulser. Among the memorable characters in Only Fools and Horses, Denzil Tulser stands out as the faithful and often burdened taxi driver, making him one of the show's most relatable and quietly heartbreaking figures. Entering the world on March 18, 1951, Paul Barber was 32 years old when he first portrayed Denzil in 1983, and the character went on to become one of the defining roles of his television career. By 2026, he is 75 years old and enjoying a peaceful life in the Liverpool region. Alongside that quieter lifestyle, he has faced growing health difficulties associated with aging, as well as the lasting psychological effects of earlier trauma. Even so, he still makes occasional appearances on screen. One of the most significant moments of his later career arrived with his involvement in the Full Monty television revival in 2023, a project that introduced him once again to audiences around the world and sparked an unexpected career resurgence. Beyond renewed visibility, the role provided both professional recognition and a greater sense of stability after years of inconsistent employment in the industry. While Denzil remains the character most closely associated with him, Paul Barber's legacy is equally defined by resilience, emotional range, and his talent for expressing hidden sorrow through comedy. Leonard Pierce as Grandad. Serving as the aging yet kind-hearted grandfather in Only Fools and Horses, Grandad Trotter brought a blend of confusion, idleness, warmth, and occasional wisdom that added humor and emotional depth to the family. Arriving in the world on February 9, 1915, Leonard Pierce was 66 years old when he joined the series in 1981, and the role ultimately became the television performance for which he was best remembered. On December 15, 1984, Leonard Pierce passed away in London at the age of 69 after suffering a fatal heart attack that followed a period of serious cardiac illness. Just days earlier, he had been hospitalized due to exhaustion, and despite medical efforts, a second myocardial infarction eventually proved fatal. Unlike many of his contemporaries, he left behind neither a wife nor children, having devoted much of his life to the stage and his theatrical career. During his final years, worsening heart problems increasingly restricted his ability to work, although he remained dedicated to Only Fools and Horses as long as his condition allowed. For the cast and crew, his unexpected death during the show's early years was deeply emotional, resulting in a temporary halt to filming as they mourned the loss. In response, writer John Sullivan created the farewell episode Strained Relations, ensuring both the character and actor received a heartfelt send-off and a fitting place in the story. Today, Leonard Pierce is remembered not only as a respected stage performer, but also as an actor whose final television role left a lasting imprint on British comedy. Gwyneth Strong as Cassandra Trotter. Providing balance to the often chaotic world of Only Fools and Horses, Cassandra Trotter serves as Rodney's intelligent and composed wife, bringing calm judgment and quiet strength to the Trotter family. Arriving in the world on July 2, 1958, Gwyneth Strong was 27 years old when she accepted the role in 1989, and it became one of the most significant performances of her long television career. As of 2026, she is 67 years old and continues to live in the United Kingdom with her husband, actor Jesse Birdsall, whom she married in 2000. Together, they have raised 2 children and continue to enjoy a family-oriented and private lifestyle. Over recent years, she has occasionally spoken about the emotional impact of losing close friends and colleagues from the Only Fools and Horses cast, an experience that has remained deeply meaningful to her. Because age-related arthritis has affected her mobility, she has stepped away from demanding television commitments and now limits herself to occasional appearances in smaller London theater productions.
Rather than a traditional retirement, her gradual withdrawal from television has largely been shaped by necessity, as physical challenges have made intensive schedules harder to manage. Nevertheless, she remains involved in creative projects and continues to maintain a strong connection to the profession she loves. Perhaps most remarkable is the enduring bond she shares with Cassandra, a character who remains a meaningful part of her life, even as her priorities have increasingly shifted beyond the screen. Roy Heather as Sid. Among the most genuinely touching moments in Only Fools and Horses are those involving Sid, the kind-hearted cafe owner whose quiet demeanor and steadfast friendship bring a sense of comfort and authenticity to the Trotters' daily lives. Entering the world on May 30th, 1935, Roy Heather was 47 years old when he debuted in the series in 1982, and the character ultimately became his most widely remembered role in British comedy television. Tragically, his life came to an end on September 3, 2014, when he passed away at the age of 79 in Hampshire after battling chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, along with repeated respiratory infections that greatly affected his well-being during his final years. Surrounded by loved ones in the comfort of his home, he spent his last moments with his wife, Sarah Heather, and family, bringing a quiet and dignified conclusion to his life away from the spotlight. As time went on, he slowly reduced his acting commitments because of worsening health, dedicating more attention to family and modest charitable efforts within his community. Years of lung-related illness continued to take their toll, eventually preventing him from making any further public appearances. Long after his retirement from television, viewers still cherished the gentle honesty and warmth he consistently delivered on screen. While Sid remains the role most strongly associated with his name, his lasting contribution comes from a unique gift for making even minor characters feel authentic, relatable, and deeply memorable. Wanda Ventham as Pamela Perry.
Possessing a composed presence and understated authority, she portrays a mother figure defined by dignity and emotional control. Standing as a representation of a more sophisticated and socially reserved background, Pamela Perry often contrasts sharply with the lively unpredictability surrounding the Trotter family. Born on August 5, 1935, Wanda Ventham was 59 years old when she stepped into the role in 1989, adding another notable chapter to her extensive television career. By 2026, she has reached the age of 91 and enjoys a private life in London alongside her husband, Timothy Carlton, whom she married in 1976. Advancing years have resulted in diminished hearing and eyesight, leading her to embrace a fully retired lifestyle supported closely by her family. Away from public events and media attention, she spends much of her time enjoying quiet moments with relatives. A significant part of her later life recognition comes through her relationship with her son, Benedict Cumberbatch, whose worldwide success has drawn renewed interest to her own career. Although her professional acting career has come to a close, her influence continues through the remarkable artistic connection she shares with her son, highlighted by her appearance as Sherlock Holmes's mother in Sherlock. Few aspects of her career have generated as much discussion as this rare blending of real family ties and fictional storytelling. Jim Broadbent as Roy Slater. Projecting confidence while concealing self-interest, Roy Slater is a corrupt police officer whose presence often creates unease rather than trust. Whenever he appears, the character commands attention with authority, yet frequently leaves an impression of discomfort and suspicion. Arriving in the world on May 24, 1949, Jim Broadbent was 33 years old when he first portrayed Slater in 1983, and despite limited screen time, the role remained memorable because it contrasted so strongly with the lighter tone usually associated with the series. As of 2026, he is 76 years old and resides in London with his wife, Anastasia Lewis, whom he married in 1987. Though he continues working in film, he now accepts only carefully chosen projects due to increasing challenges with memory and concentration brought on by age. Reaching the later stages of his career has encouraged him to focus on balancing professional work with the realities of growing older. Throughout his career, he has delivered acclaimed performances in films such as Iris, Moulin Rouge, The Iron Lady, and the Harry Potter series, achievements that helped establish his international reputation. Across decades of remarkable work, Jim Broadbent has become known for his versatility, longevity, and seamless ability to transition between comedy and serious drama. Dennis Lill as Alan Perry. Rather than serving as comic relief, Alan Perry appears as a stern and quietly imposing father-in-law whose influence is expressed through presence and demeanor more than spoken dialogue. Born on April 22, 1942, Dennis Lill was 47 years old when he assumed the role in 1989, a performance that became one of the most recognizable parts of his television career. By 2026, he is 84 years old and spending retirement peacefully in Dorset with his wife Vanessa Lill, whom he married in 1974. Because of severe degeneration in his lower spine, he has completely stepped away from acting, as extended periods of standing are no longer possible. These days, his attention is devoted to relaxation, gardening, and occasional remote participation in cast reunion activities. Over time, a gradual decline in physical health became the defining challenge of his later years, eventually leading him away from the profession despite retaining the discipline and dedication for which he was known. Instead of pursuing continued visibility in the entertainment world, he chose a quieter, rural lifestyle, centered on well-being and stability alongside his wife. In many ways, this transition represented a graceful final phase of a long career, in which hard work eventually gave way to rest, while preserving his sense of dignity. Though Alan Perry remains one of his best-known characters, Dennis Lill is most often celebrated for the reliability, restraint, and quiet strength he displayed throughout decades of British television. Ben Smith as Damien Trotter.
As Damien Trotter in Only Fools and Horses, he is portrayed as the clever and subtly critical son of Rodney and Cassandra, whose wit, intelligence, and emotional distance frequently highlight the contrast between traditional Trotter mayhem and a newer generation's detached outlook. Entering the world on December 27, 1989 in Edgware, London, Ben Smith was only a youngster when the character joined the later chapters of the series. Now, in 2026, Ben Smith is 36 years old and resides in the United Kingdom, where he continues to work steadily in both television and film. Beyond his childhood connection to the Trotter family saga, audiences also recognize him from productions including The Young Man of John Lennon, 2009, Misfits, 2009, and Hidden, 2011, all of which helped shape a dependable career in British screen entertainment. Over the years, his professional journey has demonstrated a steady move away from youthful supporting recognition toward more mature and dramatic performances within the competitive television industry. Instead of remaining known only for his role in a beloved sitcom franchise, he carved out his own path through a series of reliable appearances across television dramas and feature films. Even today, Damien Trotter continues to hold a memorable place within the extended Trotter family story. When June Snell returns to the narrative, Del Boy's past suddenly gains a deeper emotional edge. As a former flame, her passionate nature and lingering history with him introduce conflict and emotional complexity into an already turbulent romantic journey. Known at birth as Diane Shirley Maria Langton, she was born on May 31, 1944, in Cranmore, Somerset, and established a lengthy and successful career in theater and British television before taking on the role. Tragically, her life came to an end on January 15, 2025, when she passed away from kidney disease at the age of 80. Throughout her life, she shared a marriage with actor Derek James until her passing, and had previously been married to Alan Cooper, with whom she had a child. During the final chapter of her career, she gradually reduced her television appearances as her health became increasingly fragile. Nevertheless, she remained creatively active through stage performances and writing projects, continuing the artistic journey that had begun in theater decades earlier. Among her many accomplishments were appearances in productions such as Heartbeat and EastEnders, along with performances in Billy Elliot and her acclaimed one-woman production, Let There Be Langton. For her later years, the stage became an especially important outlet that enabled her to keep performing even as television opportunities became less common. Although June Snell stands among her most recognizable screen characters, Diane Langton's legacy is ultimately defined by her adaptability, determination, and enduring contribution to British entertainment. Looking back at how the cast of Only Fools and Horses from 1981 evolved between then and 2026, were you surprised by the paths their lives ultimately followed beyond the laughter? Out of all the cast members, which personal journey left the biggest impression on you? Among the many unforgettable characters, who remains your favorite after all these years? Before you go, be sure to share your thoughts in the comments section below. For more cast retrospectives, then and now features, and fascinating stories from Hollywood history, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel.